Friday, maayong hapon na imbagal daw at live tayo ngayon mula sa SDO Isabela. Dahil sa SDO Isabela at home ka sa ating mga mag-aaral mula Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao, nandito na ang ating pag-aaralan dahil nasa huling bahagi na tayo ng ating mga quarter, ang quarter 4, week 1, na kung saan ito ay pinamagatang quantitative research design and sampling procedures and the sample. At kung handang-handa na kayo, huwag kalimutan ang inyong mga tubig, ang inyong module sa pahina 7. At syempre, kailangan nating iunat-unat ating mga kamay para sa ganun tayo ay makakasagot ng mabuti. Ako ang inyong abang lingkod mula FDO Isabela, Tutor JJ Ramos at ang aking nasa likod, syempre, ang ating napakahusay, napakagaling na scholar mula FDO Leyte, walang iba kundi si Tutor Ronald. At ang ating pag-aaralan ngayong hapon na to o ang ating most essential learning competencies ay una, chooses appropriate quantitative research design, yan po yung kanyang quote, at syempre, describe sampling procedures and samples. At kung handang-handa na kayo mula sa TechBook, ABM, STEM, UMS, ICT, Sports, Gas, at iba pa, atin ng parangalan ang mga research is cool. Talagang cool na cool dahil mainit ang ating panahon ngayon. Nasa 37 degrees Celsius tayo dito sa Isabela. Research is live mula sa SDO Isabela, Chagwe National High School. Meron din tayo from Daniel R. Aguinaldo National High School standalone mula Davao City. At syempre ang Senior High School mula Quirino National High School. At para sa ating masiksik na kalaman, handang-handa na sila. Tutor Ronald, who invented the face mask? From 1600, okay, ito ay na-invento ni William De mula sa China. Isa, ito ay ginamit niya ang durability test at iba pa. Ang higit sa lahat dito ay napakaganda dahil hanggang ngayon nagagamit na natin, hindi lang sa surgical face mask, kundi nagkaroon din siya ng creative way. At kung handang-handa na sila, Tutor Ronald, atin munang sagutan ang kanilang modules sa pahina 8. Ang QRD o yung tinatawag nating qualitative or quantitative research design, ang kanyang panuto, respond to the topic-related questions, leave a remark for your answers in the chat box. So, una, sa mga senior high school natin, okay, research design is defined as the rational and coherent overall strategy that the researchers uses to incorporate. Hello, Ma'am Christina, kasama natin na tutor sa 3 eyes, okay? And Ma'am Mika Marzandakiwag, hello po. Overall strategy that the researcher uses to incorporate all the vital components of the research study. Is it true or false? ABM, STEM, UMS, ano pa ang sinasagot? Hinihintay ninyo. Pakiq-in na po ang inyong mga kasagutan. Ang tamang sagot ay, syempre, ito ay true. Sapagkat ito ay kabuuan ng hindi lang empirical data, meron siyang baseline data at merong gaps na sinasagutan sa research design. Hindi lang yung correlation, descriptive, kundi pinapatungkulan ito yung incorporation sa lahat ng aspeto, statistical, data gathering procedure, at iba pa. At para sa pangalawang katanungan, descriptive research is defined or research design, okay, ayan, that is exploratory in nature. The purpose of the descriptive research is basically to answer the 5 W's and isang H or how much. Ano sa palagay niyo senior high school ang tamang sagot? Tutor Ronald, meron na ba tayong mga sumasagot dyan? Pakiq-in po dito. At ang tamang sagot para sa pangalawang bilang ay yung tinatawag nating true. Sapagkat pinapatungkulan nito ang kalikasan, ang kaanyuan, at ang lipat at lapat patungo sa kung paano ito sinusulat sa pamamagitan ng what. So, sabi ni Tutor JJ nung practical research 1, so general ability yung kinukuha natin dito at meron tayong tinatawag na scholastic way on how to write the descriptive research part. While in number 3, correlational research main goal of this design is to determine if variable increases or decreases as another variable increases or decreases. This design seeks to establish an associations between variables. Ano sa palagay nyo ang sagot? Senior high school, ayan, may mga sumasagot dito ng true, may bumabati. Hello po sa inyong lahat at ang tamang sagot ay, okay, true pa rin po siya. Sapagkat, okay, kinukuha natin dito yung kaugnayan o significant difference o di naman kay yung variable or data natin ay nakaka-apekto sa iba. Meron akong nagpakonsulta mula Makati noong nakaraang talakayan about TikTok education. So, ang ginamit nga is correlational research in terms of doing or getting the academic performance and relating to the profile or the demographic profile involved. And of course, for number 4, as post facto objective of the study is to measure a cause from pre-existing effect. Then, of course, ex post facto research design is more appropriate to use. In this research design, the researcher has no control over the variable in the research study. Is it true or false? Sir, ginagamit po ba rin po ba yung mga yan sa mga experimental? Kasi yung sinuggest po namin ng advisor po namin or panel namin ay mixed method research design ni Creswell. It's up to you kung ano yung patunguhan ng methodology ninyo. But always remember that there's no perfect na methodology din na maiaalay natin or maisusulat. It's a matter of win-win solution. Ipa-approve kay advisor, ipa-consulta sa eksperto, and at the same time, kung may mga apps na pwede nang mag-determine and mag-define sa elaborations na ginagawa ng data, the better. So for this, the answer is, okay, automatically it's true. And for number 5, intervention or treatment pertains to controlling or manipulating the independent variable in an experiment. It is assumed that the changes in independent variable were caused by independent variable. Is it true or false? Sir, pwede po ba yan sa applied research, sa capstone, sa action research? Yes, okay po siya. Pero ito, karamihan na ginagamit natin in the action research and of course, yung mga research natin under, PR2 and inquiries, investigation, and immersions. For this, the answer is automatically it's ano kaya? True pa rin po siya. Ginagamit natin ito para magkaroon din ng ibang data na makaka-apekto din doon sa paper natin. How about yung pagbabago or changes? It can affect? Yes. And of course, for number 6, the treatment group refers to the group subjected to treatment or interventions. The group not subject to treatment or intervention is called group. Is it true or false? ABM, mula Luzon, Visayas at Mindanao, STEM, Techbook, ICT, Sports, and General Academic Strand. Ano sa palagay nyo ang tamang sagot? Yes, ang tamang sagot ay, ayun, shout out po sa ating SDS dito sa SDO Isabela. Walang iba kundi si Dr. Madeline Macaling, ang ating ASDS, si Sir Dante Marcelo, at syempre meron din dito si Ma'am Edna Abuan, ang ating mga LD coordinator, Ma'am Jackie, syempre, ang ating mga pangmalakasang LD coordinator, PSTS, syempre, ang ating mga sipag na principal at mga teacher na nasa field. Ano sa palagay nyo ang tamang sagot? The answer is yes. True. Sir, experimental and control group po yung ginamit namin. So, subject po ba yun for treatment? Always remember that doing an experimental research, we have a lot of trials to conduct. Trial 1, 2, 3, and 4, hanggang mas ma-perfect siya or treatment. So, sir, pwede ho ba kapag nag-experiment kami na tinitest yung lupa, yung replication niya? It can. But always consider that the treatment in the group must be controlled and experimental for you to have a control group. Ayan, true ang sagot ni Vivian. Ang gagaling ng mga estudyante natin, Tutor Ronald. At syempre, para sa Pampito, quasi-experimental is the terms means partly or partly almost pronounced as the eye. So this research design aims to measure the causal relationship between variables. So the effect measures considered to have occurred during the conduct of the current study. Is it true or false? Yes, may sumasagot dito from Daniel R. Aguinaldo. We also have Minuhang National High School, estudyante po ni Sir Ronald. We also have here si Sir Tirso Tababar Reyes, ang Senior Education Program Supervisor natin dito sa SDO Isabela. Specialist po pala, sorry. And of course, Resi Ann Ramos. So, ang tamang sagot is, yes, true po, tama po si Resi Ann Ramos. At pangwalo, experimental research is a research design that is based on the scientific method called experiment with procedures of gathering data under a controlled or manipulated environment. Is it true or false? The correct answer is, there you go. True pa rin po siya. So, it is a scientific method wherein you are going to have a process or step. Like for example, planning. Then after planning, de-design na ba kayo or gagawa ba kayo or magde-develop? Always consider that marami po tayong uri ng test kapag experimental. Kapag product, we have the durability test, the economic friendly test, the budget friendly test, at iba pa. So depende yun sa atake nung paano ninyo sinusulat mga senior high. And I would like also to discuss to you about sampling procedure and the sample. So, as what I posted a while ago in my official FB, so sinabi ko doon na dito sa sampling procedure and the sample, pwede nyo gamitan ng TLX apps, ang G-Power apps, or yung power analysis, wherein okay, pag sinabi nating population kasi mga anak, it is the totality of all the objects, elements, persons, and characteristics under consideration. So it is understood that its populations possess common characteristics that which the research aims to explore. In short, ang kabuuan po ng bilang ng respondents is called a population. So sir, may mga kumukuha po ng data from PSO and PSA pala, sorry. And at the same time, kinukuha po yung mga demographic profiling namin kung ilan na yung sa isang tirahan, ilan po yung bahay. So that's what we call a populations. But depende sa sampling mamaya na gagamitin nila. Is it cluster? Is it purposive? Or is it probability-based sampling? And the like. So dito, masasabi natin na ang pangalawa naman ay sampling ay pinapatungkulan nito kung ano yung process na gagamitin natin which is analyzed in the research study. So the goal is to get information from a group that represents the target population. So sabi ko nga kanina, kung cluster sampling sa isang section, ilan ba yung kukunin mo doon? Or kung stratified sampling, yung strata or isang sections, ilan ba yung particular na sorting? So here, we can cut up the different styles. So a sample that is obtained to the generality and the applicability of finding increases, the more is it valid. So it depends on the sampling strategy. How about, sir, ginamit po namin yung online survey questionnaire. We use SurveyMonkey, we use the Bitly, and we also use the different Google Forms to use for. So yes, maari po natin po siyang gamitin. At syempre, para sa pangatlo, the representative subset of the populations refers to the samples. Ayun. So, ano dito? So, ang representation dito para sa mga kalahok o kabuang bilang ng populations ay pinapatungkulan dito sa sample. So, we can define that sample as a cluster or subject po siya. So, from kanina, population, dito naman, kukuha lang tayo ng selected. So, from that word alone, sample. Okay, so I have here the approaches in identifying the sample size. At tuturuan ko kayo mamaya sa iba't ibang uri ng apps, particular ang G-Power apps, kung paano kumuha ng sample size ng isang particular na gagawin. At available ito sa ating mga Android phone. And meron na rin po akong naka-upload na Google Drive na pwede kong i-share sa inyo mamaya. So we have the heuristic. So here in heuristic, you can use, of course, the cluster sampling, certified sampling, the purposive sampling, and probability sampling. But there is an option that the more the populations or the respondents being used here, the more that it can affect the data. While in fact, if we are going to use the literature review from the word itself, marami na tayo nabasang articles, mga journals, o di naman kay mga books na napapatungkol sa ginagamit natin na sample size, pwede nating i-add. In private schools and private universities, they use literature review as a form of their methodological or yung tinatawag nating chapter 3, yung ina-add nila kung ano yung idea. Like for example, the researcher is going to use t-test, wherein Creswell 2009, di ba pina-follow up, so to use the literature review. And of course, formulas. From the word itself, the statistical treatment to be used must be reflected in a well-versed manner and of course, in a writing of proper way on how to write it. And at syempre, yung example ko sa inyo is the power analysis. I will give you example. So here I have the so-called power analysis tool that I'm going to discuss. So nakikita po yung ating screen. So yan po siya. So how to determine if yung test na gagamitin natin ay nasa under siya ng test family na exact test, the F-test, the T-test, the X-square test, and the Z-test. Always consider that the formula test is going to use for the experimental and of course quantitative research. Pero ang pinakagamitin ng paper natin under quantitative research ay yung tinatawag nating T-test. Okay, so can we consider that, sir, as ano yung statistical test na gagamitin natin? So pwede natin gamitin dito yung tinatawag nating mean difference to independent means to groups. And of course, we can also use the kapag generic t-test kasi mga anak, itong nasa baba na nakikita ninyo sa inyong phone o di naman kaya doon sa inyong modules, ay general clues po siya. But always consider and remember that here, we are going to use, kapag visceral model mga anak ha, dichotomous po yung pinapatungkulan noon. So how about here? So para maging clear po tayo at hindi pa natin na-determine, just click yung generic t-test. Then after clicking that generic t-test, ano po yung next na pipindutin natin? Is it two-tailed, one-tailed? So here, para maging safe po tayo, kasi generic t-test yung ginamit natin, one lang po yung i-click natin or pipindutin. Then after that, ano or ilan yung parameters? Always consider that the lowest parameters that we can use in our paper senior high school is 10 below. But kapag marami yung respondent, halimbawa si advisor or panel ninyo, kinukonsider niya mas mataas yung respondent. So pwede natin ilagay dito na 50. Then after that, ilan yung ratio? So sa isang section, 20:10 or 5:1 o iba pa. Pero para i-consider natin dyan, 1 po siya. Then after that, mga anak, i-calculate natin yung nabuo nating data. So how? I-calculate natin and automatically, ito po yung kalalabasan ng ating data kung valid po. So ang critical T value na pinapatungkulan dito mga anak, kapag ganito yung representation, is meron siyang critical T value na 20.618 kapag 50 respondents yung kinuha natin. Sir, masasabi ho ba yan na valid o hindi? Senior high school always remember that the protocol of power analysis. So dito sinabi niya na meron po siyang errors in terms of using the ratio. So dapat yung ratio natin kanina, tinaasan natin ng 20 para maging 10 siya. Kasi ang value po niya dito sa error problem is 0.01. While in error problem, 0.02 naman po. While in power F, is 0.98. So, kung titignan natin yung critical T value niya, tanggap o hindi, with the probability errors of 0.98, katanggap-tanggap po siya or is valid. Sir, parang may interest po kami sa G-Power apps ninyo. Pwede ho ba kayong magbigay pa po ng isang problem or sample? So, yan. Ibibigay ko sa inyo for free kasi mahaba-haba pa yung oras natin. So, magbigay pa tayo dito naman ng isang sample sa t-test pa rin. Then later on, titignan natin yung mean percentage and at the same time, yung normal curve kung valid po siya or hindi. So under t-test, ang gamitin natin ay magda-dichotomous tayo. So i-click natin dito yung correlation point visceral model. Then after that, ayan. Shout out po sa mga estudyante ng University of Perpetual Health and Our Lady of the Pillar College na kasalukuyan pong nanonood ngayon. So dyan, titignan na po niya yung eta square or yung effect size ng isa. So P is equivalent to 0.10 for the small group, P is equal to 0.30 for the medium group, and for the P, 0.50 is equal to large group. So ilan yung population na sinabi kanina ni Tutor JJ? So 50 po. So 0.50, representation ng ratio 100, at ang magiging sample size po natin, halimbawa 1,000 or 2,000 yung estudyante, ang kukunin lang po natin is 100. So iraran po natin yan kung valid ba o hindi yung gamit ng correlation point visceral model. So tignan natin, ika-calculate natin siya ha. Ayan. Nag-enjoy yata sila, Tutor Ronald. So, katanggap-tanggap po ba siya sa normal curve na nakikita nyo sa ating screen? Yes, automatically. Sapagkat, kung makikita ninyo yung critical T value niya ay napakataas yung pagtanggap. In all, it equivalent to 2.89342. So, kung titignan natin yung analysis niya mga anak, it is accepted pa rin po siya. So, from the word itself, And from the numerical data being involved here and used here to elaborate and of course to certain do this, it has a clues of 0.00234817 at tanggap na tanggap po siya. Sir, yung power po ng error po niya, meron po siyang 0.99 which is effective po na ginagamit natin. So balikan po natin yung power analysis mamaya at bigyan ko pa kayo ng isang apps mamaya kung meron pa tayong oras. So balik po tayo sa ating presentation. Yan. So mukhang nakikinig ang lahat at syempre kailangan natin ng bigyan ng pagkataon ang mga kasama nating nag-edit kanina na nandito pa rin, si Dr. Matty Rites Bakiran, Sir Reynold Bartolome of Jones Rural School, and Sir MJ of UNHS. Okay, so here ang mga anak, na-discuss ko na sa inyo yung gamit ng heuristic, literature review, formulas, and power analysis. Nasa inyo na mga anak kung paano nyo kunin, gamitin, at elaborate ang inyong mga samples. Always consider that the population refers to the whole, while populations or the samples represents to the selected respondents only. And of course, here, the probability sampling that we are going to use in your paper, if we are going to use the simple random sampling, it is a way of choosing individual which members of the accessible populations are given an equal chance to be selected. There are various ways of obtaining samples through simple random sampling. Gaya ng kabuuan or lahat po siya. So lahat po ay may pagkakataon na maging respondent, mabibigyan ng pagkakataon na mapili. That's not like in qualitative research that we are going to use phenomenology, case study, historical, at iba pa. Dito ang patutunguhan or kukunin lang po natin ay numeracy. And that numeracy, sir, palagi po na sinasabi ni advisor po namin na mag-limit na daw po kami gumamit ng profiling or demographic profile kasi gamit or gasgas na po. Always remember that wala pong gasgas. It's a matter kung paano nyo po siya present at kung paano nyo siya sinulat. Kasi hindi naman sila magsasabi ng decline or rejected ang inyong paper kung walang dahilan or basis na tinatawag natin. And of course, mga anak, huwag ninyong kalimutan na ang gamit naman po ng stratified random sampling from the word strata, the same with simple random sampling. Pero ang pinagkaiba ay maaari din ang kabuuan ng populations or samples ay maaaring mapili or ma-select. Ayan. At para sa pangatlo, mga anak, cluster sampling, this is procedure is usually applied scale studies. Geographical spread out of the population is the challenge, and gathering information will be very time consuming. And of course, similar to stratified random sampling, we can categorize, of course, that cluster sampling here ay involve dito yung grupo or di kaya experimental or control group, and from that populations, meron tayong tinatawag na cluster. Halimbawa, sa homogeneous or heterogeneous sections, kukunin mo doon yung pinakagamitin na hashtag sa social media. Halimbawa, hashtag halalan 2022 or hashtag let the earth breathe. Then after that, titignan mo yung section na yun kung meron silang social media account. From that alone, titignan mo din kung netizen or mahilig sila sa pag-net or pag-surf. Then mag-a-arrive ka at kukunin mo through clustered sampling. May subgroup para sa section na to or grupo na to. Halimbawa, community 1, community 2, 3, and 4. Then after that, you can conclude that the cluster sampling from that subgroup, the informations ay maaari nating sabihin na nakapapagod or nakaka-time consuming. But in the end, kapag legit and napakaganda ng pagsulat natin at maayos yung pagkuha natin ng sample dito through cluster sampling, masasabi na ox or okay na okay ang ating mga sinusulat. At syempre para sa pang-apat, we have the so-called systematic sampling. How can we say that systematic sampling that is valid din? So this is procedure is a simple selecting samples every 9. So maaaring sabihin 19, 29, 39, 49, and at the same time, pwede aring 4, 8, ganon. Choosing population until arriving at a desired total populations of sample size. And now mga anak, bibigyan ko kayo ng panghuli nating tatalakayin na nasa page 14 ng inyong module. Dito yung tinatawag nating sample size and sampling procedure. Ang ating panuto o direksyon, huwag kalimutan, response to topic-related questions. Leave a remark with your answer in that chat tool. Huwag kalimutan sabihin kung anong SDO din kayo. At bago tayo mag-proceed dyan, sabihin ninyo or tapikin ninyo ang inyong balikat at sabihin kayang-kaya ninyo. Ayun. Hello po, Ma'am Jessica Boromio, kasama natin na tutor from Manila. Ang unang katanungan, okay, establish for the computations of an acceptable sample size is you can use different formulas depending on what you know and do not know about the populations. These tools are also available online. So ano kaya ang tamang sagot? Is it true or false? Ayan, ang husay ng ating mga senior high tutor Ronald. So may sumasagot dito na true, may sumasagot din na false. Ayan, batiin ko rin si Sir Ronald na nasa screen natin katatapos ng kanyang quiz B. Talaga namang go-go-go ang ating program head mula SDO Leyte, ang ating regional director, Dr. Benjamin Paragas, ang ating ERD, Sir Jesse Amin, ang ating PAO dito sa ating Region 2, Sir Amir Aquino, ang ating CLMB, Sir Octave, at marami pang iba. Mga anak na senior high, ano ang tamang sagot para sa learning task 2 number 1? Ang tamang sagot ay, syempre, true. Okay, ginagamitan natin ito ng iba't ibang formulas. Sinabi ko nga, sa family tree ng statistical way on how to use that, we can use the Kendall-Tau, the F-test, the t-test, at marami pang iba as long as it suits or fit on your methodology that you are going to do. The statistical treatment must be reflected honestly. Okay, and of course, for number 2, using literature for the compositions, this approach increases the validity of your sampling procedure. So, na-discuss sabi kanina ni Tutor JJ ha, na kapag nasa private school, ano kaya yung karaniwan na nilang ginagamit? So, ang tamang sagot ay, yes, automatically it's true. Literature review is an approach that increases the validity of your sampling procedure. So, tinitignan natin or nag-a-add tayo, the researcher are going to use the eta square wherein from the paper of Creswell 2009, it was involved to dagdagan. Okay, so true po para sa number 3. Heuristic approach for number 3 naman po refers to the general rule or rule of the thumb for the sample size. This is the earliest established approach for sample sizes for different research design. Is it true or false? Yes, automatically answer is true. Di po tayo dyan. Kasi nasabi ka na, rule of the thumb or the sample size, kung ano yung gusto ni researcher at approve po para sa advisor or the panel, okay po siya. Always remember that in using this, there are interferences, references, and at the same time, dashboard to be considered in using heuristic approach. So parang sinasabi mo na pwedeng mixed method research design. Yes. Always remember that using actual and non-actuals can be used in heuristic approach. Mas lalo na kapag ginamitan mo to ng content analysis, thematic analysis, power analysis, guaranteed analysis, at iba pang uri ng analysis na maaari nating may contribution sa ating ginagawang paper. And for the last one, the power analysis is an approach that is founded on the principle of power analysis. There are 2 principles that you are going to consider here. You are going to use this approach via statistical power and the effect size. Okay, statistical power from the word is numeracy. Pinapatungkulan dito kung paano natin gamitin yung mga basic na ginagamit natin, mean, median, and mode, and at the same time kung gamitin natin siya ng graduated mean. And at the same time dito sa effect size, we can use the, okay, eta square din. Okay, so meron naman pong formula na available natin na makukuha. Ang tamang sagot para sa katanungang ito ay yes, true po siya or tamang-tama. Ayun, ang huhusay ng ating mga senior high school. At syempre, ito po yung ating nagamit ng mga references na kailangan nating i-reference. Ayan, ito na ang hamon sa inyong mga anak dahil nagsusulat na kayo ng inyong methodology. And at the same time, nagsusulat na kayo ng interpretation nyo for sure. I-check nyo na kasi working research naman yan. Hindi ibig sabihin na kung ano yung sinulat ninyo nung huli nating tinalakay or nagsulat kayo sa inyong chapter 1 to chapter 3 ay okay na. No. Always consider change and transformations because transformation is everything. Maaring magpalit tayo or magbago tayo, pero kapag transform tayo, mas maganda yung papel natin. Huwag mag-away sa inyong group, tulungan ang inyong groupmates at yakapin sila. Kung malayo kayo, kailangan ninyong magkontakan. Ang dami nating platform. We have the Messenger, the numbers, the Zoom, at iba pa. Kung hindi alam ang inyong sinusulat sa methodological part niya, you can always consider expert, yung mga engineer na pinsan nyo, mga teachers, and humingi ng intervention kay Lord. Huwag kalimutan manalangin habang nagsusulat. Yung mga example ko sa inyo kanina, halimbawa paggamit ng hashtag halalan 2022 or Earth Hour, maaari din yung hashtag TikTok Educations, patungkulan nyo at kukunin nyo yung performance niya, okay na okay yon. But always remember at the end of the day, ano yung naging ambag sa brief of science or knowledge sa aking papel. Ito ang inyong abang lingkod, huwag kalimutan na manalangin. Mula SDO Isabela, huwag kalimutan na ang research ay buhay. SDO Isabela, Tutor JJ Ramos po, nagsasabing paalam sa inyong lahat. Appear, appear, thumbs up, thumbs up. Appear, appear, thumbs up, thumbs up. Paalam po! Yan. Tutor Ronald. Ayan. At syempre, i-plug ko na po, huwag kalimutan na i-votes po kami mula sa Team Research, kay Tutor Tina, kay Tutor Arlene, Tutor JJ Ramos mula SDO Isabela in Pangasinan. Syempre, ang pagpag, nandyan si Sir MJ, si Tutor Jericel of Creative Nonfiction, and si Tutor G of MTB mula Alicia East Central School. I-votes po sila at yung mga kasama po nating tutor, i-votes nyo kami dahil nalalapit naman po ang awarding ng mga tutor. Siyempre, kailangan nyo ding mag-like, mag-subscribe sa ating official SOCMED, which is the FB and YouTube. Tutor Ronald! Paano po mag-vote? Bisitahin po ang ating page and at the same time, i-click po kung ano yung steps na gagawin nyo doon. Click then submit po siya. Tutor Ronald! Ayan. Ayun. At habang hinihintay natin si Tutor Ronald, alam kong nag-host din siya ng quiz bee nila ngayon. Bigyan ko pa kayo ng mga sample anak na pag-test sa inyong ginagawa ngayong papel. So, dito sa G-Power Apps na mata-download nyo sa Play Store, so i-clear protocol ninyo. Then after that, i-click nyo po yung yes para mag-change po yung data. Bigyan ko po kayo ng sample naman po sa gamit ng test family, which is the exact test. Now, let's use the generic binomial test here kapag experimental. Halimbawa, kung kanina ginamit natin ang ratio, dito naman sa generic binomial test, mga anak, gagamitin natin dito yung proportion part 2. So, halimbawa, 0.10 yung gagamitin natin, then 1 yung ratio, ang sample size natin ay 100, at syempre, meron tayo dyan na 0.5. So, tignan natin kung ilan yung magiging calculation ng ating data. So, sample. So, tignan natin, sabi na dito, accepted pa rin with the power of 1.8 po yung kanyang 0 and the actual would be 0. So, ang interpretation is accepted but always remember, sabi niya dito sa kanyang analysis na compromise daw yung pag-compute ng implied and power. Kasi kapag generic binomial test, kinukonsider niya dito yung variable which is the demographic profiling. But kapag linear multiple regression naman po, i-calculate natin kung okay po siya. Tumatanggap naman po, but ang kanyang analysis is accepted and the power is exact distribution with 0.00436232. Ayun. Tutor Ronald, yun po yung mga sample po na binigay po natin. Okay na po, Sir Ronald? At alam kong nandito ka na sa ating screen. Nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating RBI team, sa Radyo Eskwela Isabela na pinangunahan po ng ating team, Ma'am SDS, down sa kanilang teams, kina Ma'am Shine, kina Sir Kevin, at kina yung pinagpaalaman ko po kanina dito, maraming salamat po. Tutor Ronald, maraming salamat po at paalam. Ayan, mukhang wala pa po Sir Ronald. Sir Ronald? Okay po. Ulitin natin, i-plug po natin, huwag niyo po kami kalimutan na i-votes para sa ating third na awarding para sa Itulay, which is mangyayari po sa May. Tutor Jerry Sal po, Creative Non-Fiction, i-votes po natin. Tutor G of Mother Tongue Ilocano with Tutor Madge of Antipolo. Sir MJ of Pagpag, okay? Pagbasa at pagsusuri sa pananaliksik, i-votes niyo po sila. At syempre yung makasama kong tutor na si Tutor Tina, Tutor Arlene Abang Lingkod, Tutor JJ Ramos. Okay po? At syempre yung mga applied subject and core subject, special subjects sa senior high school program po natin, i-votes niyo din po sila. Thank you po at maraming salamat po.